moment, but we thought we'd just go straight on into some poems right off the bat. And there's a guy named Mark Strand who wrote a poem called Eating Poetry, and that helped me get into the idea of like, just bypass the mind and go straight into the gut. And so the first poem I'm going to read is from William Stafford. Anybody know who that is? Okay. And this one is called A Story That Could Be True. If you were exchanged in the cradle and your real mother died, without ever telling the story that no one knows your name, and somewhere in the world your father is lost and needs you, but you are far away, he can never find how true you are, how ready. When the great wind comes and the robberies of the rain, you stand on the corner shivering. The people who go by, you wonder at their calm. They miss the whisper that runs any day in your mind. Who are you really, wanderer? And the answer you have to give, no matter how dark and cold the world around you is, maybe I'm a king, maybe I'm a queen. William Stafford. Alrighty, and then this next one is from Antonio Machado.
A quick note on Stafford. You know, he came back from World War II, a changed man, and he decided to write a poem every day, which he did after that his whole life.
Wow. Yeah. This one's called The Wind, One Brilliant Day, Antonio Machado. The wind, one brilliant day, called to my soul with an odor of jasmine. In return for the odor of my jasmine, I'd like all the odor of your roses. I have no roses. All the flowers in my garden are dead. Well then, I'll take the withered petals and the yellow leaves and the waters of the fountain. The wind left, and I wept, and I said to myself, what have you done with the garden that was entrusted to you?
So, if you want to save your soul, you're gonna have to lose your mind. If you want to save your soul, you're gonna have to lose your mind. I know you like to think a lot. I like it better when you're not. If you're gonna save your soul, you're gonna have to lose your mind.
You.
Does everyone know who we are, by the way?
No. 3 guys off the street.
Pretty much.
3 guys off the street.
Pretty much.
They're infamous.
Singing the language of the soul.
There'll be some unintentional comedy, so that'll be fun. This is Paul Trent. He's the heart and soul of this. He invited me and Kit in here for this, and it was his vision.
This is Paul Grafton. He's a storyteller, raconteur here.
Man about town. And this is Christopher Kitts. He's an all-around wise elder and good friend, and love the guy. Known him for a long time. Great poet.
Okay. So this is about the soul. What's the soul, Paul?
So yeah, the vision I had, I'm a student of Michael Meade, a lot of other people with a lot more experience and wisdom than I have, and so what's come through to me in these recent times is that the difficulties we're in the world. And one of the saving graces, or one way I've confronted that or been dealing with it, is to realize that the importance of the soul, and that this is a time for great learning, potential great growth. In my life, when I've experienced the worst and most difficult times, this has been when my soul has most developed. And so this just seemed like a really healing message for me, coming through when, if we listen to the news and just our own, oftentimes, thoughts and other people's despair and so forth, it can be pretty discouraging. So this was an idea to let's take this as an opportunity to really dig down into our souls and see what we can come up with, because that's, in my opinion, the best route right now. So that's what this kind of is all about. And so we've got our own experiences and how we can share things, and I'm sure you all have things too that we may have some time to talk about.
We were also talking about this at the beginning, was, soul is just a word.
Right.
There's lots of other words that are similar, or what are we talking about?
In terms of a clarification about what we mean by the soul.
Yeah.
Well, I think that'll become more clear through our poetry and through the course of this, but initially, the soul to me is a kind of a deep region of the self that isn't necessarily visible or apparent, but it's unique to all of us, and we all have, in my opinion, whatever you want to call it, whether you want to call it soul or something else, some uniqueness, some fingerprint that we're bringing to the universe, that we're all sort of connected to, that there's a commonality that we all share, but we all have this uniqueness too. So that's an element of soul. There's the individual aspect, there's the collective, kind of the collective soul, which is community, how we all oftentimes form relationship together, or common interests, so forth. And then there's the world soul, which is really the whole potato. It's the universal, it's the planet, it's the whole cosmos. This to me is kind of a universal level. So we'll hopefully kind of address all those things, but the main point is it's something I feel that we can all connect to and relate to in some way, and on whatever level, if it be individual, if it be community, collective, or this more universal sense.
We're also talking about sort of the three levels of a person, right? There's the body, the physical.
Mm-hmm.
There's the soul, which is a little bit more connected to the body, and then there's spirit, which is much more upward facing and headed for the heavens. And I think why we're interested in soul is because it kind of gets down and dirty, right? It's not all clean and light and wondrous stuff. It's also all of the deep emotions and all of the work that we need to do, and the hidden unconscious, all kind of barreled into one.
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways you can talk about it, but the soul to me is also sort of a connection between the spirit and the body. It's the kind of the thing that can kind of communicate or transfer some kind of energy between that, or connect that all together. It's more for me it's more the down and in, as opposed to the up and out, which is like spirit and like everything's great, and my Facebook posts make me seem whatever, but I'm having this really other horrible experience or something, which I need to do work on, and that's pretty much why I don't make those posts, because things are always changing. One way to talk about that kind of uniqueness is a Zen monk. Actually, it started the Soto school in the 13th century, on non-dependence of mind and soul uniqueness. Said this: coming, going, the water birds don't leave a trace, don't follow a path. So there's a lot in that. There's like this, it's like don't follow a path, you know, it's your own path. It's very kind of, there's a Tao element to that as well. And the uniqueness of each bird's flight.
Also, I get out of that that little poem there, the concept of, you know, as you pass through life, you're not expecting to leave a trace. You're simply passing through. There's a touch of impermanence in that image.
Right. Another aspect of all this, which along the lines of what I've already said about my kind of impetus for this, or intention, this is very much in line with Michael Meade, the idea that it's a call, this is a time, it's a call to soul, it's a call to all of us. Like, that's what's gonna get us through if we're all connecting to our soul and the gifts that we have uniquely in each of our soul. It's, Meade's thing is kind of away from the Joseph Campbell hero's journey idea. Like, this is sort of outmoded. It's potentially got us into trouble, that it can be some hero coming forth and saving, our heroine saving the day. It's more this idea of a genius myth, that we all have this unique genius to bring forward, and if we really tap into ourselves and find that and bring that up and share it, this is the way we're going to move forward. So there's that collective idea, that collective soul aspect that connects us all together, while being very unique and very different.
I was just gonna say, Rothke has a poem that says, "In a dark time, the eye begins to see." And so we live in an ascending culture where, like Paul said, we want to get lots of likes, we want to be good looking, we want to be rich, we're going to put out to the world all these awesome things. But really the soul doesn't give a shit about that. The soul is like, well, what's underneath? It's like a tree, like putting out all these branches and leaves, but the soul is like, I want to see the roots. I want to see what's the fungus and the mycelium and all that good stuff. And I think of like a diamond is formed underground in intense pressure over a long period of time. And so we really need to find our souls to kind of navigate this time, because there is a lot of darkness, there is a lot of hard things that we're gonna have to deal with. And so that's kind of what we're all about, is like, what have we learned about our soul? So.
Yeah, I was just going to say one quote from Meade is, each life has a body and the soul speech hidden within it. What is hidden within it is the design that brought us here. And the better we come to know that soul design within ourselves, the more we manifest a life well lived. And I would extend that to potential healing and potential solutions to these issues that we're having. You know, on a cultural, we didn't really say, obviously I think we know, on a cultural, political, social level, all the things going on, and on the level of nature, unprecedented, like potentially ending the species type of thing. You know, these are, there's always been craziness throughout history, but this is a tough time, so.
Yeah, we're all pretty crazy.
Yeah. Exactly.
Or we're about to find out.
What else? So that's poetry and storytelling.
Yeah.
This is the language
That's why
of the
we're
soul. That's why we're here. Because, you know, we can sort of intellectualize and try to pontificate, but it's like, you know.
You usually end up tongue-tied.
Right, which I am.
Here's a quote from poet William Carlos Williams about poetry. "It is difficult to get the news from poems, yet men die miserably every day for lack of what is found there." Let me read it again.
Yeah.
It is difficult to get the news from poems, yet men die miserably every day for lack of what is found there. So,
Speaking of poem, are we ready for one?
Okay, I guess so.
You've been waiting this like patiently.
So this is a poem that came to me contemplating a metastatic prostate cancer diagnosis, and the recognition that I had a population of cells growing in me that didn't give a shit about me, and was just going to take off and do whatever it felt like. It's called Connection Across Scales. Life is fractal geometry embodied. Patterns repeat at different scales. Am I made up of smaller beings? Who are the souls that make up me? All my cells, each and every one, living, dying, building, destroying, excreting, communicating, recycled and recycling, exist with a purpose beyond their ken. Their works, their lives, their births, their deaths, all together build up my body and keep it running. But each cell is but a single mote in a vast being. Do they wail about the poisons I feed them? How hard it is to breathe? Do they ponder their fate as I ignore their pleas? Unaware of my human priorities, do they search for divine meaning? Or railing against their unkind and uncaring God, do some go rogue, reject the norms, and live for themselves? Perhaps. And still my cells have faith in me, that I will do my best to keep them well fed and oxygenated. But there is a purpose to their lives, though they ken it not. Their faith in the whole, in me, keeps them going and keeps my body running for what uses I will choose. So, what larger whole am I repeating in fractal resonance at greater scales? Am I one mote amid a vast tissue of lives? Whose is the soul we make up? All our bodies, each and every one, living, dying, building, destroying, communicating, excreting, recycled and recycling, exist within a purpose beyond our ken. Our works, our lives, our births, our deaths, all together build a vaster being and keep it running. So I am but a single mote in a vast being. When I breathe the poisons on this planet, I wail. I ponder twists of fate as the greater being ignores my pleas. Unaware of her vast priorities, I search for divine meaning and rail against an unkind, uncaring God, preparing to go rogue, reject the norms, and live for myself. Perhaps. And still I hold a resonant fractal faith that I will be well fed and housed, that there is purpose in my life, though I ken it not. My faith in the whole unseen vast being keeps me going to keep her body running for whatever uses she will choose. Now lately, if I stop and listen, I can hear encouragement. This vast being knows, appreciates, and cares. I feel treasured just as I am, my purpose to contribute all, even unto death. And so, in fractal resonance at smaller scales, I send word down to my cells. I hear you, I appreciate, I care, I treasure all just as you are. Each one has purpose and contributes, even unto death.
Yeah, so good example of this sort of the expansive way you can talk about the levels of soul.
And the ideas of life being at multiple levels, from you know, the world of molecules to cells to individuals to species to the planet.
And you would know because you're a biologist back in when you had your day job.
An ecologist.
You call it, okay. So, someone who studied that stuff closely.
Microbial ecologist.
Microbial, yeah. So you're getting you're getting a whole new lesson on microbes and all that stuff in this recent chapter.
Yeah.
Whether you want to.
Gotta recognize them,
Yeah. Okay.
So you got some more on that.
I got a couple poems. Getting in touch with this idea of soul going down and having some difficulties and coming out the other side somewhat. No more cover bands. I've always wanted to write my own music and play my own songs. No jazz standards, no memorizing every note of Stairway to Heaven. Maybe that works for some, but not for me. Never been able to learn somebody else's chops or copy their licks or ape their moves in sport or dance. Something inside me makes me do it my way. Maybe I will never be as highly developed and skilled as Hendrix, Coltrane, Miles, Schofield, Abdul Doumbia, one of my African drum teachers, Bonham, Stanton, or Herlin Riley. They're all drummers, though they are no doubt my teachers. But it will be mine, all mine, my birthright to be me. I would rather be silent and still than inauthentic and noisy. Okay, here's another one.
This one, I love.
So Lego my ego. Or ego. Striving for what I want. When I get what I want, then it's not what I want. I want something else now. Never enough. Then it's too much. Give it all back, then take. Old habits resolving through lifetime's mistakes. Short-lived satisfactions turn into a lifetime of chasing after one thing or another. Like a rat on a karmic wheel of desires. Lego my ego. Give up the ghost. The hungry ghost boasts that as I roast on the hellfires of attachment. No time to coast. Burn, baby, burn. Let it burn to the ground. Choose to lose it. Better not that it's found. Lego my ego. Grego. I mean, we can have fun with the soul. I mean, it's not all a downer.
Not at all.
But there is this concept of the dark night of the soul.
Right.
And sometimes to discover one's soul, one needs to go into the mud.
Exactly.
You're digging for the gold that's buried in there.
Right.
And
Palate cleanser.
yeah, we got a palate cleanser.
Yeah. Here's a quote from the poet Jose Ortega y Gasset. These are the only genuine ideas, the ideas of the shipwrecked. All the rest is rhetoric, posturing, farce. So if you're shipwrecked, you're in a great place. According
This is called spiritual spelunking. I was digging around my soul's cellar this morning, following trails of emotional goo dripping out behind me, while chasing my spirit through the caves of my heart. Walking backward over the goopy spoor, I spiraled down deep into the catacombs to an old freezer in the basement. A freezer packed with 5-gallon plastic carboys brimming with black, smelly, nauseating gunk. Old, unexhumed shame, stored away for later use, I suppose. My first thought, didn't I deal with this shit already? Dang, guess not. But what to do? Burn it? No. Oh no, God no. Imagine the choking acrid clouds of inflamed self-blame. What then? Bury it? And blithely leave, only to some future morning find it once again at the beginning of another trail of goo? No, not quite. Like good fish meal, this stuff is best composted. I will use it in the gardens of my heart to fertilize these growing loves, the trees and flowers of my soul. You got a palate cleanser for us?
That was a video palette cleanser. I got one. 60 years, this is from Will Durant. 60 years ago, I knew everything. Now, I know nothing. Education is a progressive discovery of our own ignorance.
I think that's a real nice doorway into the mystery of the soul. As you dig deeper, you realize, oh shit, I don't know.
We have 2 teenagers in our house, and they definitely let us know that we don't know shit. they know a lot.
So this is another poem that came out of the darkness of my diagnosis, and went pretty deep. So it's called "Come Forward Darker." Come forward, darker regions of my soul. Come into the light and be seen. I bear no stark arc light of blame, I promise. See, here is only a comforting butter lamp of truth. Come forward into the warm, butter-burning light and be seen. What have you heard? What do you know? What have you done? I am here, butter burner. I am here. I hear your anguished cries, your frustration, your pain. I gathered these soot-filled gems in my dark treasure halls. An angry partner losing her love, an overloaded, toiling, always demanding more. A broken family solely bearing more responsibility. Dark desires hidden from the world, played out in secret. Held tightly in a nest of guilt woven with pain and loss. Old dreams, old paths not taken, rotting in disuse. You asked for a way out, so I gifted you what you desired. A view of your death. Here it is now, glowing in the butter-burning light. Will you turn away? Thank you, darker regions. I see your gift. How it gleams in the light of butter burning here. I recognize this as my request and your response. This is a gift of knowledge, of clarity, of truth. And still I would ask you one more boon. What do you want from me? This gift of death comes unacknowledged or unseen. What you do is not my will, though my desire is for life. I want you to live fully, to be awake and aware and open, to be as fully alive as possible until this physicality is complete. Seek your dreams. Walk the paths you once knew. Speak your heart in full knowledge of your death. be alive. Thank you, darkness. Thank you, life. Please come out and live with me. I need your counsel often.
I'm supposed to follow that up.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a Bachman Turner overdrive after Jimi Hendrix Monterey show. Well, here, I got a palate cleanser from the Sumi Shikubu. Watching the moon at dawn, solitary, mid-sky, I knew myself completely. No part left out. This next poem I wrote, it's called The Call of Wild Dogs. The white horse stands beautiful and burgeoning, its hair neatly combed, its mane poofed up. But the white horse I worked so hard to nurture never runs, not even for a few gallops. The white horse is more statue than being. Behind where the white horse elegantly stands, a group of hogs swoon in the mud. Further past them is where we keep the mules. And over the hills and past the ravine, there is a pack of wild dogs. These same wild dogs who know my name, my real name. At night, they howl for me to come out. Although I've been warned of their dangers, this night I decide to find them. A bright moon illuminates the trail. The breeze leaning into the oak leaves reminds me that I'm not alone. If the oak can spend half its life in darkness, I can make it for a few hours tonight. As I approach the howling, it grows louder and more strained. Snarly with strands of lightning. I stop and notice my shadow cast from the moonlight. I'm not as tall as I had imagined, but the outlines are unmistakably masculine. I'm no longer a boy. At this point, the howling grows louder, firmly boisterous. No more straining. The calls are clearly for me, and it doesn't take long to see through the darkness that I'm surrounded. The elder speaks up. You finally come to us, and we've been waiting. Tonight, we kill the white horse. Rip into his belly, devour his muscles. You can join us or not, but this is our gift to you. Once the horse is dead, you will be our brother. You are then free to roam our hills, howl with us late into the evening, and bring all that ails you to our den. We only ask for one small favor in return. Speak loudly, speak slowly, and speak the truth. And as you'll come to find, the more you speak, the more you'll become frustrated with those around you who are lost following their own white horse. They'll only see you as a beast. The more you speak, the more you'll find your own voice, and then you'll speak not just for your kind, but for all the kinds. The kinds who have no voice, the kinds whose voice isn't heard, and especially for those whose voice is awaiting return. And remember this, you will awaken something within those who know, but are afraid to admit the white horse is a phantom. And on some deeper level, your words will collide with their truth. Then your voice will have yielded its biggest prize, to help reunite truth inside with the truth out here in the hills. And as much as the blood grieves us, it's time to feast. Welcome, brother. May the hairs on your face grow fierce and wily.
time for a story.
It's time for a story.
Why a story?
Why a story?
Why a story?
Yeah, why a story?
The soul likes stories. My soul likes stories.
Oh,
Because it may be said that a lot of what's in a story is in us. We can usually find something in a story that relates to something in us. So whether you understand it all, like in a poem, or not, something may grab you in a story, and that may be something for you to kind of chew on.
Yeah, and they say, don't try it to listen to the story. Let an image in the story pick you up. So you may not be following, and then all of a sudden something grabs you. That's important for you. And so story comes from the old word storehouse. So imagine going into the storehouse and you're going to find something you need and pull it out. Are you guys ready for one?
Yes, I'm ready.
So this may have happened a long time ago, or it could have been recent, or it could be right now. Because the old woman of the world existed a long time ago, from the beginning of time, and still exists today. She's the creator. And this, as we've been kind of working on the dark side of the soul, this of course takes place in a cave up on the side of a mountain, way up in the distance. The cave is dark, it's black. We enter the cave. There's a faint glow towards the back, somewhere in the distance, and we venture further in and come to see the old woman. She sits on a stump, a log, and she's very, very old. Who knows how old, but about as old as you can get. And she's working on a garment. That is her craft. And the garment is the most beautiful thing. And she's almost finished with the garment. See, she's a seamstress. She weaves things together. She brings the separate things together and makes them into beautiful things. And so she's working on the last sleeve of this incredible garment. You might say it's the garment of the world. And her teeth are, she's been working on this thing and sewing for so long, since the beginning of time, that her teeth are worn down to nubs, because she chews on elements of stuff that she's working with, like the porcupine quills that she's sewing into the hem of this garment for the beautiful brocade, the very trimming, the very finishing touches. And she chews all of these porcupine quills so they're softer and flatter and kind of glistening, kind of glowing, as she sews them into the garment for this decorative trim. So she's working on this, but further back in the cave where that initial glow was, there's a fire. And the fire is heating the cauldron that sits over it. And in this cauldron is all the roots and all the shoots and all the things that grow on the earth to keep the earth going. And she has to go back and tend this cauldron. Or if she doesn't, everything will dog. Her black dog has been sleeping there near her, and he takes notice as she's moving so slowly away from what she was working on. He kind of wakes up, as dogs can tend to do when they see an opportunity. And she passes him, and he takes an interest in where she just was and what she was just doing. So he goes over to the garment. And what do dogs do with fabric and thread? And so he finds the end of the thread, and he puts it in his mouth, and he tugs on it. He starts chewing and gnawing, and meanwhile, the old woman, she's back at the cauldron stirring the pot now, round and round, begins to come back, turns around, comes back. The dogs see this. By now, he's done a number on all this whole garment. There's nothing left. It's just a pile of threads and chewed up material and fabric and buckskin and everything else she had there that she was working on. So she makes her way back to the garment, sits back down, reaches down to a pile of broken, unraveled, tattered, torn fragments of what she just got done. She takes a big breath, couple of big breaths, and she begins to have a vision. And this vision comes in brilliantly, loud and clear, and she gets this exuberance and inspiration and enthusiasm, and she has a vision of the next garment she's going to make, and it's even more beautiful than the last one she's been working on. She picks up the threads, she picks up the materials, she starts sewing everything back together, and she knows for certain that this garment will be the most beautiful thing that the world has ever seen. So it's gotten a little masculine for y'all. We brought the feminine in, because that's really where it's all happening in terms of a lot of what we're working with, at least on this realm for sure. So what do you guys make of that story?
Well, there's a clear allusion to creation and destruction in a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And, the old woman just knows this, and she's not destroyed by it. In fact, she has another vision. It's even larger and more beautiful and complete.
Right. Pablo?
There's kind of an indefatigable spirit that she has, where it's like all the stuff's just lying on the ground. Doesn't cry, doesn't form a support group, doesn't go on a psychedelic journey. Just like, all right, I can see what needs to happen, and just takes it and makes it into something even more beautiful. So there's sort of just like an empowering piece to this, because we're getting knocked down all the time. That's inspiring for me. I don't know, does anyone have an image of the story that grabbed them out? Craig.
Amor fati, love of fate. She just rolled with it. This is the fate. Move forward, continue, carry on, with love.
I did did love the way she sort of drank in the universe with those deep breaths prior to reigniting her spark.
Yeah, what I got too with the breath was just grace. Like she had this beautiful, what I was witnessing, this beautiful grace about what happened, and it wasn't gonna rattle her, she was just gonna move forward in grace. And create beauty. It was cool.
Yeah.
New story.
What's that?
A new story.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you get the feeling her teeth are worn down. She's been doing this a long time. And you know, it's her black dog. She knows, you know, we know what black dogs do. So it's not like, you know, so there's a couple things that I have from that, like the Greeks called her Ananke, and she's the mother of invention, the mother of time. Necessity is what that word means in Greek. And so back to our initial intention with this presentation, we're all being called to be the great mother. We're being called to pull that forth in ourselves, to keep revisioning, to look at the tattered, unraveled aspects and take some breaths and redream what we can do, where we can go, how we can address this situation.
I think there's also an easily overlooked character in this story. And it really jumped into my heart because I was paying attention to the drum. And when it really sped up and got some energy is when the black dog got up.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
like, ooh, ooh. And then, all that energy and movement around destruction. It's absolutely necessary part of this whole cycle.
Absolutely.
Innocence.
And the black dog has that energy and has that capacity. And we might have fallen into the trap of blaming the black dog and giving it a hard time and thinking it needs a thrashing, but she didn't do that.
No.
She just looked at him,
Right.
took a few deep breaths, said, yep, he's doing what he does. Back to work.
My feeling too is, like in my own life, I deal a lot with, these guys hear me harping a lot about completion. I'm not into completion. And this is a good example of this where, great mother, creation, black dog, like it's all part of this bigger picture. Like it's as necessary, the black dog's just as necessary, because if we come to completion, if we've arrived, we're dead. I mean, the definition of completion is death. So to be complete or fully realized, or, I get very, what's the word?
Exercise.
Yes, I'm very cautious about that when something's fully finalized, and this is a great example of like cycles, give and take, creation, destruction. It's all part of the picture. So even when it looks like there's a lot on the horizon towards destruction right now.
Through that breath too, there was like a surrendering that
Sure.
allowed the better vision
Yes.
to become apparent.
Right. And so the great mother's very in touch with her soul. I mean, obviously, she great model for us.
One thing that I appreciate is that it all took place in the cave in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
We have another story.
Are you complete?
I'm for the moment. For the moment.
Well done.
Nothing is complete.
You got So we got another story with,
My turn?
your turn.
You're up. Alrighty, so my story is a Chinese story, and it starts with a young boy whose name is Ping. And Ping, his favorite thing to do is grow flowers. He grows flowers, bushes, fruit trees, and he's really great at it. Like, even through the village, everyone knows, like, oh, Ping's got a special talent for growing flowers and plants. And this isn't a time long ago when the leaders are a little different than they are today. This emperor loved the environment, loved birds, loved animals, loved nature. His favorite was plants, though, flowers in particular. And all through the region, there was many beautiful flowers. It was like perfume, just walking through the village. And the emperor was getting older, and he realized he needed to have a successor. And so he thought about it. He said, I don't know really how to pick this new person, but I will let the flowers decide. And so he called all of the young people, he called the children. He wanted to pick a child to be the successor, to learn the ways. And so he called all the children in the realm to come meet on a spring day for this succession, and said, I'm looking for the next empress or emperor to emerge. And so all the children came, and he gave the assignment. He said, I'm going to give you a seed, and I want you to plant it, and whoever does the best will be the successor. And so all the children got their seeds, and they went back, and Ping was so excited because this is like right in his wheelhouse. He's great at growing flowers. So he gets his pot out, he puts the seed in, and he just waters it, and the seed doesn't sprout. And he waits a couple days, weeks, nothing. And he's a little frustrated, but he keeps trying. He gets a bigger pot, he gets darker, richer soil, mixes it more, waters it, tends it, and still now another 2 months go by, not even sprouting up. And this continues through the year, and as it continues, he's noticing that his friends are starting to grow beautiful flowers. He's looking around at his friends, and they're like, Ping, what's wrong with you? You haven't even sprouted anything yet. And he's like, I keep trying, but he kept trying his best, and over time, and winter, and then spring came again, and still nothing. And it became the time when the emperor called back all the children to see what they've grown. And so Ping at this point is looking at his empty pot, and he says to his dad, I can't go, I'm so embarrassed. There's nothing in my pot. And his father asks him, he said, did you try your best? And he said, I tried every day. I've been trying to tend this thing, and it just won't sprout. And he said, well, then you have to take it to the emperor. If that's your best, you need to take that. And so on the day that they returned to the palace, he grabbed his empty pot. He's walking towards the palace, and he's looking, and he's got friends on both sides. You have beautiful big flowers, colors of the rainbow, and he's walking back to the emperor. And that's where we're going to stop the story. But I have a question while we're mingling. We'll take a 10-minute break. But I want you to think about, is there a time in your life where you felt like you were carrying an empty pot and the people around you seemed to have beautiful flowers and were doing well?
And you were feeling that, oh God, how can I do this? How can I go forward? Everybody else is so much better.
I need a brain.
All right, well, let's get back to the story, and then we'll maybe come back to,
A quick offer. It may have helped you become the great kind of mechanic, master of all kind of stuff that you do, all your handyman stuff and put stuff
Yeah.
Woodsmith.
Yeah,
Something could have.
I'm a true MacGyver now.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks for that.
Uh-huh.
That's good.
Song.
Song. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes it's good to sing a song. So join in if you want to. This is from West Africa. It's in the Doggerel language, but don't let that dissuade you from singing along or humming. Azima woe, 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 Azima woe. One more time. Azima woe, Azima woe, Azima woe, Azima woe, Azima woe. Azima woe is, it means the earth. It's an honoring of the earth. And the Z from their language is a star. So it's acknowledging that we come from the stars, that the earth is a star in a way.
All right.
So,
Off you go, Paul.
we on to the
Back
to
to the
finish.
story.
Can we get back to it?
So, Ping is carrying his empty pot towards the palace, and it's the best that he could do. And it's empty, and he's surrounded by other children that have beautiful flowers. And as he approaches the palace, he's worried that the emperor might punish him even for doing such a poor job with his seed. But he goes anyways, and all the people are gathered, and the emperor starts walking around looking at the flowers of all the other children. And he's looking carefully and studying the flowers, but he isn't smiling at all. And then the emperor finally comes to Ping and looks at him and says, "Why have you brought an empty pot?" And Ping said, I'm sorry, Emperor. I tried my very best every day. I attended to it. I gave it rich soil. I watered it. I cared for it. And it didn't sprout. And you asked for us to bring our best, and this was my best. And the emperor smiled. And he said, I want everyone to come gather around and look at this empty pot. He said, I don't know where all of you got your seeds, but they weren't the seeds I gave you. For the seeds I gave everyone were boiled and would never have sprouted. And so I honor Ping for coming to us with the empty truth, and I've now found my successor.
Wow, that's great.
So there's something about that. I love that empty truth. My moment of carrying my empty pot was as I entered high school. They gave standardized tests, and I'm what later learned I was a spatial learner, which means I learn, but just a lot slower. But then once I learn, I get it really easily. And so I failed these standardized tests and got put in these courses that, I felt stupid. For 20 years, I felt like I was stupid, basically. And then I finally realized, it just takes me longer, and I had to create my own system. But that was that moment where all of my friends just continued on their path, and I was no longer in the same classes. I was like, wow, there's something wrong with me. And I felt like, so this story really resonated because I really did try my hardest and it didn't work out. And the benefit is that I spent 20 years as an educator, and I could see kids that had that same maybe thing on their shoulder that was like, I'm stupid. And I was able to look at him and say, no, I see your genius. And that was really allowed me to be successful in that role. And it was really just to get out of the way of these kids' geniuses. So I love this story for that. And it's allowed me to heal that part of myself that felt stupid for 20 years. And so I don't know, maybe Craig, like, you know, that story that you told, there's some healing in there for you.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This gets us to, you know, when you've dug down into the deep black mud and you've been honest and authentic, there's some gold there. The soul has a gift for everyone. If you dig it and you purposely go down where it really is a problem, you find some really amazing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's a perceived weakness or failure, that's kind of a judgment, and that in this story, Ping's being rewarded for that failure in a way, or what he perceives as a failure. But then, from another point of view, it's a success. So that's the thing. I think another thing, different spiritual teachers that I've been with and so forth, there's this sense of like, this is a movie and you're given this part and you're given this role, and even if you're the, like in the drama of what we do on the planet, even if it seems like, oh, I feel kind of insignificant, that's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And if for me, if my ego can get out of the way and I can just accept that, then I'm just playing the part that I'm given in any particular situation. And then in another situation, one may be the star, but in this other case, he's the boy without anything, and he's being honored for that. So
it's also just like, share who you are. Fuck it. Like, that's okay. Like, there will be an emperor that sees the gold in you. And these guys have been that emperor for me in time, so.
likewise.
Where are we now?
So in my journey with cancer, I've given a couple of poems that were really kind of going down into the darkness. And there was a point at which I recognized that all of my knowledge of science and medicine and all of my studying about all the methods and techniques that were out there told me absolutely nothing about me. They could tell me about how the population responded, or how most people who had this disease ended up. But where I was in those death curves that were all carefully laid out in the scientific literature, there was no sign of me. So I needed to go searching for myself. And having grown up in the 70s, I knew a very good way to go find myself. Not being terribly religious, I found a plant medicine circle. And so this poem is what came out of that experience. And it's called Healing This Little White Boy. There are 3 voices in this poem, and I'll try to make them different. If I'd thought about it, I guess I would have asked you guys to speak the different poems. And it's too late now. I'll just go for it. So, you want a medicine journey. What is it you want to be different when you're done? I want to know why a part of me doesn't think I should be around much longer. Okay, here, take your journey medicine, lie down, and let it come to you. Flesh is falling off. Bones are crumbling. I am finally dying. I am so happy. I am so free. This body is done, and I am free. Okay, so how you doing now? I'm dying. I'm doing great. I need you to sit up and look at me. I'd rather not. I need you to sit up and look at me now. Oh, okay. What part of you told you to get cancer? What? What part of you told you to get cancer? Eyes darting right and down, head spinning. I don't know. Right and down. What's there? No, don't look at it. Look at me and tell me what's there. Snake! Big, black, huge snake. Whole body shivers, tremors of fear, eyes wide. Do you recognize this snake? When did you first see it? I was 5 and my mother took me to Africa for a PhD work. Our gardener killed a black mamba and showed it to us, body shivering with fear. 5 years old, good. Take this spot, write it down, keep it in view. Whatever comes up, give it to the journey medicine. Snake. A curse. I see you there writing down. Come out, come up, I see you. Get in front of me and tell me who you are. Black smoke rising. I see you. Get out of my body, snake. Ah, I see you now. Little 5-year-old white boy comes to Africa and he knows I do not belong here. I am not welcome here. I feel your anger. I feel your pain. I feel your suffering. I feel your hatred. Brought by my mother, whose mother's 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 own sons and daughters of Africa. Blonde and blue-eyed like the little white boys home after hundreds of thousands of years. White boys who stole, killed, and trampled Africa beneath white boots. White boys who ignored African wisdom. White boys who crushed African abundance. White boys coming home to destroy and dominate. Oh, I see you, Mother Africa. I'm so sorry. I see your pain. I see your suffering. I'm so sorry, Mother Africa. This little white boy is home and knows he doesn't belong. This 5-year-old boy knows he can never be good enough to address so much pain. I see your suffering. I'm so sorry, Mother Africa. I see you now. I see you, Mother Africa. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Mother Africa. I see you now. Let me take it all. Let me take it all on. I'm strong. I'm a strong little white boy. Let me take it on. Age 11, broken arm. Ah, this is right. I'm carrying the weight. Age 19, broken wrist. Ah, I have it now. I have the weight. Age 23, broken collarbone. Ah, this is right. The weight is on me. Age 33, broken knee. Ah, this weight is real. I can take it on. Age 48, broken rib. Ah, one more step. Age 52, broken ankle, broken back. Ah, nearly there. Age 57, prostate cancer spreads to bones. This little white boy is home. This little white boy is home. I'm home, Mother Africa. I will die for you. I want to die for you. I want to take away your pain. I want to be little white boy up on the cross for our sins. I want to take away your suffering, your anger, your hatred. This is too much for me. It's breaking my bones. I want to die for you, Mother Africa. Oh, little 5-year-old white boy, what made you think you could hold all that pain? It's too much for anyone. It's breaking your bones. Your death will not take away Mother Africa's pain. Ah, I can let it go now. I'm sorry, Mother Africa. I'm so sorry. I cannot hold all that pain. I cannot hold all that suffering. It's breaking my bones. I will let it go now. I will let it go. I'm so sorry, Mother Africa. I cannot hold it all. I will let it go. I'm so sorry. Shush, little one. Tip your head. There. 1, 2, 3 shiny black stones she picks out. There. 1, 2, 3 little black marbles out from my bones, right where the bone scan saw cancers. 3 little black marbles go into her bag. Their job is done, she says. Mother Africa has set me free. Oh, thank you, Mother Africa. Thank you, Mother Africa. Thank you. Oh, Mother Africa, I'm so sorry. This little white boy is home, and Mother Africa has set me free. I'm so sorry, Mother Africa. This little white boy is home. Mother Africa has set me free. Thank you, thank you. This little white boy is home. Mother Africa has set me free. Oh, Mother Africa, do I belong here? Am I good enough? Do you love me? Come here, little one, come here. And she ruffles my blonde hair. Whatever made you think you could take on all my pain? Mother Africa has more pain and suffering than any little white boy can hold. Foolish little white boy, of course you're home. Of course I love you. Are you not human? All humans come from Mother Africa. Now go. Get out of my kitchen. I have work to do. Go help other little white boys and heal yourself first. So that was a real turnaround. A recognition of a gift from really deep within. That I was really welcome, loved, and I belong here. And that I have something worth sharing. And we need a palate cleanser.
Palate cleanser?
Okay. I got a Michael Mead one. When everything goes dark, then the people will live by the light of their own soul. When the path is right, then the obstacle isn't to stop a person. It's to awake a person further. Smooth seas make bad sailors. So, I mean, it feels like it really was an awakening for you, in a deep way.
And really that's what we're bringing here. It's necessary to go dig into deep, dark places, search for your soul, to find those gifts.
Okay, so I'll read a poem about my own search for old wise men. If I could put all the old wise men in the world in one room, I'd have some questions. Wouldn't you? I'd want to know the depths of pain they had to go through to get their so-called wisdom. I want to know how they approached new experiences. With openness, knowing a new entry meant a goodbye, or with disdain, fighting like a rabid dog to push through terror or guilt to embrace the new. And most of all, I'd want to know to what depth they were able to let the full force of each experience into their bodies without crippling themselves in the process. My sense is that they're all on the other side now, hanging out, well, being wise men. What would they tell me about entering darkness? Any tips? How many didn't make it? Are they wise enough to withstand my releasing untidy rage all over their silken white robes? And what's in it for them? Why are they all gathered here? What's feeding them? Are we all not on a Ferris wheel? Some of us cresting, the sun touching us at all the right angles? What about the others of us who are descending, unsure if we'll stop at the bottom to depart this world, or if we have more arcing views on the horizon? What about those scraggly looking guys climbing up a neighboring tower yelling obscenities at us? Who invited them? What about those desperate men clutching with one hand on a faltering handrail as we circle around? Should I, as a non-old wise man, offer a helping hand? Or will I just get drugged down into something diabolic myself? And look, some are readying themselves for flight, thinking they have wings. Do they need a warning? If so, isn't that what old men, wise men are for? At what point would the power of what's moving this fucking Ferris wheel align with the power pumping blood to my muscles? Muscles just waiting, just simmering, ready for an invitation. An invitation from you, old wise men. A standing invitation that whatever I have been keeping down in my belly and bowels has permission to rise. Thanks for the reassuring smiles, old wise men. This welcoming knowledge you carry that what's in there will not destroy, but at last bring balance.
Yeah. In all of that, again, the old saying is that one of the old sayings is the soul learns a lot more from failure than it does success. Along those lines, a couple of quick ones. Take back my power. This morning I took back my power from the ancient guru with long pointy beard and piercing eyes. Even his picture in a book cuts through the ages and penetrates the current consciousness of many followers. But he has nothing on me. I say with the humility of one who has feared myself more than any other creature or being in this universe or the next or in future universes to come. I release that fear back to its dark origin and let go of this once fast friend, magician, protector, and possessive lover. I need it now only on midnight adventures when there are true predators hunting and imminent dangers present in the wildness. Now I feel the power of all my emotions, knowledge, training, experience, history, relationships, loves, hates, connections, and attachments emanating from my heart. It's all there, a universal force that radiates and encompasses infinity. This is who I am. This is who everybody is when everything else is gone and has been surrendered to the one that is uniquely each of us. Funny paradox that it takes complete submission to experience supreme power, as this power is only as full as the level of humility with which one has owned. I own it all, and give full credit of its origin and existence to the whole, which I now feel at the center of. Blessings from the center of the whole is where I am at. And now, how I can best serve this exalted state and humbly give what I have received so much of. Here's another one. It's called Bare Chested, and the bear is B-A-R and also /BEAR. My heroes were bikers, surfers, weirdos, Iggy and Bowie, and now Fela. My mother and my culture wanted and still wants me to be a good boy. My soul is a bear, bare-chested grizzly, wild tramp traveler and hobo hunter-gatherer, iconoclast trailblazer, free solo climber. Bring on the big walls, the big waves, the big bands, the big dreams, the big loves, and the extreme passions. My soul boiler will cook them up and steam them out into the world where this humid, thick composting, dark, golden mist will fertilize the crops of yours and my creativity, fear, joy, anger, sorrow, and sadness, and bloom the world again into erotic buds of all that is sensuous, beautiful, exotic, indigenous, and taboo. The world's soul has had enough of all of the buying and selling, exploiting, mechanizing, quantifying, capitalizing, falsifying toxicity that divides and stultifies. Where's the love? Where's the love? Where is the love? And without love, where's the bliss? Follow the bliss. That's where the bliss is. That's why we're here. That's the whole reason for being here, is just for the love and the bliss. All the other stuff is just lessons, distractions, tangents, and attachments and experiences, whether good or bad, happy or sad, that one way or another are just leading us back to the love and the bliss. Bare your soul. Bare your chest. Ladies too, you're all welcome. Every one of you is welcome and needed. We're all human, and we're all grizzly.
So this is still working with the gifts of the soul. I'm going to follow up on the bear theme of this one, because this is a gift that came completely unexpectedly. It came in the form of a dream, and it's still affecting my life. It's called Brother Cave Bear. A cold winter brewing as we prepared the cave. Some were cleaning skins, some were gathering wood, some collected the last of the dried berries from spring. All looked up to the entrance as one. His massive bulk moved slowly through the falling snow. Gigantic claws swept the drifts with each step. A shaggy coat dry and patched from mange, head down and waving from side to side. A soft grunt escaped his gaunt frame. With eyes rimmed red, when he raised them to me, I saw the glow of death upon him and was not afraid. Motioning to my kin to put down their spears, I went to welcome this uninvited brother into our cave. Come in, brother. Rest while you can. You are safe here. Others made way as we went to the back of the cave. Our weary brother collapsed in a nook with a sigh. His eyes opened as I stroked his head and held his chin. I called for water, and he lapped a bit before resting his head upon those stupendous, lethal paws. That night I felt him go as I lay against his side. A rattle and a cough and silence. I promised him I would use all his body and spirit for the good of my brothers and sisters. I wept for the passing of this tremendous gift. In the morning, refusing help, I dragged his heavy body out past the naked willows and down the frozen creek bed to a sandbar far enough away to leave the stale meat and offal for Brother Wolf and Fox and Raven. I sang his praises as I forged a necklace of his claws and teeth, a headdress of his skull, and a mantle of his skin. His gift of spirit was complete. Around the fire as winter raged, we danced and gathered to the drums. Our Ursine brother's spirit praised with stories and laughter, joy and hope. me, that speaks of the unexpected nature of the soul's gifts that just show up, and you have to be ready for them. Open up, accept them when they show up.
Mhm. Yeah, it's also, there's a death there. The soul is on that level of life and death. It's like the deepest level in my experience that I can experience. That's what the soul level is. And hopefully we can, bring that out into our lives with different forms of expression and creativity. It may come out as joy, enthusiasm, love, all these different things. But it's really showing as we tap into this, may take some work, going through some difficulty, but if we can tap into this, we can come out of the cave, we can emerge with some gifts, healing, balance, equilibrium, wholeness. Brings wholeness to this otherwise potentially superficial aspect that can be part of life.
And something along the way, something in the journey had to die.
Mm-hmm.
So there had to be a completion of one cycle, like the garment had to be destroyed, the bear had to die.
The
Something-
white horse, the white horse.
Yeah.
What was that?
Say it again.
The white horse.
White
Yeah.
horse.
I should have said we're videotaping this, so if anyone is uncomfortable with that, I mean, it's a little late now that we're talking about that, but it's mainly just for us. It's
Yeah.
not like we're gonna, I don't think go nuts with it on the internet or anything, but.
In the, I was gonna jump in with it. In the Dagara culture, which the song we just sang, I was reading this morning actually, a book, Malidoma Somé. He was talking about in their culture, when you have a bodily pain, what it is that the soul is trying to, something new is trying to come in, and the old is like, no you don't. And then so there's this fight going on. And so for them, when there's physical pain, they're like, oh wow, that's great. Something new is coming in. And they have rituals to help kind of deal with the old trying to hold on. So I thought that was kind of
I love that.
appropriate.
I love that image.
And another aspect of something dying off so that something else can come forward, in a way you could explain that in some way, my poem, the ego. If there's some part of that personality or all this stuff, in my experience, like I've taken on in my life to like cope with stuff, or as a kid or whatever, these are things the ego is involved with, and more like spiritual paths, we're like involved with letting go of that so we can become more of our true selves, more of our soul self, I would say. And this is the old concept that's not so much in vogue now, but the old concept of weirdness. That was a compliment back in the day. Like the weirder you are, the more the origins of that word weird are towards uniqueness and authenticity. So the weirder you are, the cooler you are, in my book.
The closer to your soul you are.
Yeah, the closer to your soul.
Yeah.
Wish I would have known that a while ago.
No, it's all right. You're among weirdos. We love you. So along those lines of this idea of equilibrium and wholeness, it's about anchoring that in ourselves and our experience, and integrating it. A good idea of that, and this sort of like way of expressing that is the old story of the Zen monk who's sitting in a zendo. This is during the shogunate times, and the samurai, a marauding samurai, comes into the zendo, and with his samurai sword out, puts it up to the neck of the Zen monk and says, I could take your head off with a flick of my wrist, And the Zen monk just calmly sits there and said, yeah, I could let you do that. So it gives you kind of a power, and definitely some equanimity, some strength, and reassurance in the face of death. And this is what, in my experience, all my spiritual practices that I've said, it's all about preparing for death, really. So the more we can be comfortable with that and comfortable with ourselves, as this Zen monk, no doubt, sounds like he was.
Palate cleanser?
Yeah.
Alright. This is a quote from Frank Herbert. The proper teaching is recognized with ease. You can know it without fail because it awakens within you that sensation which tells you this is something you've always known. And then there's one more here from David Stendhal Rost. Joy is the happiness that doesn't depend on what happens.
So you're up.
Yeah. So this is having, gotten in touch with some of that soul in my experience. It's called soul power. I want to live. I want to love. I want to squeeze every last drop out of life. So much power and vitality coursing through my veins, busting at the seams. So much to offer, so much to share. It's bubbling up, spilling over, and I don't care. It's not me anymore. I can't take credit. Just a vessel or a live wire, a conduit for energy that's on fire. Spark it, light it, ignite it. No fear here or anything else right now. Only flow and resolve and presence and commitment and attention and awareness. Everything's firing. Everything's alive. There's nowhere to hide, nowhere to go. This is the center. This is the truth. This is the juice that's squeezed from the fruit. This is the soul power that's heaven on earth.
Sweet.
Along similar lines. It's called Finalmente te escucho. Finally, I'm listening to you. No more hiding, no more whimpering, no more distraction. Where we are going, soul and heart decide. When my bones resonate, my feet are on the path. Hearing your gentle voice, feeling your full presence, I'll walk with open eyes and opened mind. This way, that road, this love, that smile, through the mud hole, past the party, under the night sky, into the dawn. Waiting for your call, paused until I hear, moving to the open door. Finally, I'm listening to you.
Beautiful.
All right, I got one. This was called At a Super Bowl Party with my son Odin, age 12. After many mouthfuls of salty chips and spicy salsa, halfway through the third quarter, my son Odin sits on my lap. A friend nearby says to him, "You still sit in your father's lap?" I wonder, do you need to be more independent? Do you need less comfort, especially outside the home? What would a middle schooler say? Later that night, we read together up in his bunk. He snuggles up into me, and I turn off the light. He asks that I stay. Holding each other in silence, he sinks into me. A warmth in my stomach, a sense of calm. Who is holding who? This need for connection, so translucent in youth, becomes misty, obscured, even in adulthood. I hear of men who are unable to cry, even when the dog dies, the friend moves away, the parent is dying. How many more times might he request me to linger? Will he feel a desire for closeness, a want for his father's love, yet pause? Wonder about this boyish whim, until a voice may say, "Do you still need to be held by your father? Is this gift of a strong clutch just meant for a few scant years?" It may be so, but I can tell you tonight, if my own father magically returned, even for just a few minutes, to this earthly plane, I'd have no problem asking him to hold me, to stroke me, to smell his fusty scalp, to soak up his deep, slow breaths, which sing me to sleep.
Thank you. Thank you.
I knew I wouldn't be able to get through that one.
You did,
No, you're doing
though.
great.
That was perfect. That was
Beautiful.
perfect music.
So beautiful. Yeah, the soul level, there's no, very comfortable with emotion, strong emotion.
So in this journey of soul discovery, I think everyone, or maybe I'm projecting, I don't know. I think everyone comes to a point where they recognize a choice in front of them. And the soul has opened up this possibility of a different way of being, a different world to live in, a different way to look at things. That's what this poem's about. Well, a storied choice. Is it the familiar, insistent, paralyzing narrative of barriers? I am limited. This body is slowly degrading. The seeds of its destruction are scattered throughout it. There's nothing I can do about it. I have no impact. My place in the larger collection of humanity is fading and inconsequential. As a single grain in a vast dune, my will cannot affect its shape. I am separate, alone. Real contact with others is fleeting and unreliable. I do not belong with anything larger than just me. Or is it the novel, quiet, powerful tale of renewals? I am continuously transforming at every level. New atoms, new molecules, new cells working perfectly together, recreating at each moment this healthy, vibrant, vigorous body. My attention and effort direct regenerative and healing processes. People, patterns, and things are altered by my attention and effort. My thoughts, words, and actions are intimately entwined in the dance of humanity. A single fish in a vast shoal, we move and flow in fantastic gyrations together. I am a tribe, a community at every scale, a collection of repeated patterns creating further complexity and higher order patterns. We are all inextricably enmeshed in this whole. So go, live by a chosen story. Conscious storytelling creates reality. Choose, live, be your story.
Equal portion. I want an equal portion. Not too much, not too little, but a whole lot of love. Mother, father, sister, brother, earth, sky, heaven and hell, it's all one and the same anyway. Just give it to me in digestible increments. integratable fragments, and even fractions are okay. My soul will piece them together someday in sweet time. No metronome, no meter, in a rhythm far beyond my tiny heart. It's all I can do to hold myself present, even in one moment, without bursting with the gamut of emotions, let alone put together the entire cosmos in a lifetime.
It's 2:59, so we have 1 minute left for to conclude all this. But I'm just gonna read the quote, right?
Get your quote.
I'll read a quote and then we'll be done. And then, but if you want to hang out, do we have me and you, or do we have to be anywhere?
Don't have to be
So if you
anywhere.
want to come hang out with us and talk, we'll be hanging out.
We have to be packed up and out of here
In an
before
hour.
4, so as long as we can do
So you
that.
might get sucked into moving a chair or something. Okay, this is from Francis Weller. So some of you guys know he writes about grief. He said, the levels of addiction in our society are off the charts. And I'm not just talking about alcohol and drugs. I'm talking about shopping, working, sex. Addictions are an attempt to cope with intolerable states. The meager lives we are asked to live, in which we are often reduced to, quote, earning a living, are themselves intolerable. For thousands of years, we were nourished by being members of a community, gathered around the fire, hearing the stories of elders, feeling supported during times of loss and grief, offering gratitude, singing together, sharing meals at night, and our dreams in the morning. I call these activities primary satisfactions. We are hardwired to want them, but few of us receive them. In their absence, we turn to secondary satisfactions: rank, privilege, wealth, status, or on the shadow side, addictions. The problem with these secondary satisfactions is that we can never get enough of them. We always want more, but once we find our primary satisfactions, we don't want much else. So thank you for being a part of our primary satisfaction today.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Wow.